could be a more flawed theory. I think it's probably a bit of a slight on us, to be honest, because it's not something that we do. We pick our team and we go out there and prepare them as best we can, and they go out and play. So, it was a disruption, if anything, for us. Dan Levy got a heck of a shock when I said, Dan, you need to grab that jersey off Pete. Pete, you grab that off CJ. CJ, you grab that off Jamie, because Jamie's just pulled his upper hamstring and isn't able to play. And it was, I don't know if you saw Jamie doing the warm-up, but it was very late in the warm-up when he suddenly stepped aside and the doc had a look at him and then tested him inside, I'd say 5 minutes before kickoff. It's a myriad of things, really, to be honest. I think the situation we were in and what was called for to be delivered, we probably sharing a couple of records now, not ones that we've earned necessarily, but ones that we've been involved in. And to get second in the championship, I think I mentioned last week, would have been something that was incredibly important to us. So to get that is really important. And then the actual performance itself, I thought the first 20 minutes we were really, really good. We put a lot of pressure on them. We played with width. We in difficult conditions. I think even Bestie here threw a reverse pass. He's not sure himself. It slipped out of his hand, but it was just great that they went out and played, and they played with confidence. And I think we've been doing that. We've just, last week we had some real frustrations. We got very close to the line, and penalties were conceded, and then we had to try to build again, and we didn't quite get the results from our driven maul that we would have liked. And probably, the biggest frustration in the championship is maybe that first 30 minutes we played in the championship, and then to get back into that game and get ahead is a reflective frustration. But to be fair to England, what an incredible record! 18 consecutive Test match victories. It's hard enough to get one without putting 18 of them together, and you couldn't say anything other than that they're deserved champions. And while we won tonight, we're envious that they were out there with the silverware at the end of the day.
I think it'll be frustration. I think Joe's already touched on it. The first 30 minutes wasn't us, and then probably just the Wales game, just those fine margins that we talked about it last week after the game, that they're the stuff that we pride ourselves in winning. And when we win games, we win more of those than we lose, and we just didn't get that last week. But I think tonight was a bit more like us, a bit more like the form we showed in the autumn. And I think it'll be incredibly frustrating when we look back, but I think looking back will be for another day when we get together again. But I think you just have to be hugely proud of the way the boys went. I think Pete coming in late again, it was the Australia game that he came in. Now he had a little bit more time to prepare for that, but to come in just at the end of the warm-up, play the way he did. I think Andrew Conway coming on to win his first cap at half-time. Luke McGrath, that kick at the very end. We know we have a big squad, and we know that we can perform well. I think the frustrating thing is that we just didn't do it pretty consistently enough throughout the championship. Just more accuracy, and obviously in slightly more difficult conditions tonight. We had no roof, so the elements were in, and it was raining at times, and sometimes that light rain is more difficult to control the ball than whenever it's lashing down, because it's wet. It's just our accuracy, and like I say, just those small margins and not wanting to give up a simple knock on, and there was no real time, bar maybe a couple of penalties in a row that we give England, that we ever let the pressure off.
Rory, just to be sure now, at one stage, Joe give it to you in the neck, which is a high tackle in itself, the leg hits and the high shot. Did you see the resist? Was that a frustration?
It was. He kept saying that the TMO was keeping an eye on it, but I suppose he was saying that his job and his assistants and the TMO is to look after the players, and all I was simply saying to him was it's my job as captain to make sure that our players are looked after, and I knew if I didn't try to put a bit of pressure on to look after them that I would be getting it from Joe. I don't think he minds off the pitch if it's a high tackle or not.
Rory, it was directly about Sexton that he was getting targeted. You felt compelled to say that to the referee.
Yeah, look, key players and key positions. Look, we knew it was a really tough test match, and in really tough test matches you try to be as close to the line as you can be, and yeah, I don't think it was anything other than trying to put pressure on Johnny, but look, we have to look after our players, and key player like Johnny, look, we know we have Paddy, who's performed unbelievably well for us in this championship, but you don't want players going off unnecessarily.
Joe, really disputing that, Joe?
I think we'll be reflective. We'll have a look through the game, and we'll reference a few things. I think there probably are a few things, and we referenced a few things from last week as well, a few neck rolls, and I think those things came into vogue, and maybe they've just slipped out of vogue a little bit. Watching a little bit of Super Rugby this morning as well, I thought there were a few high shots, and so I know it's an initiative that is being driven quite hard. So we hope that it continues to be driven hard. At the same time, it's a test match where there is a heck of a lot of intensity, and heights are dropped, and that happens in a split second. It's a little bit like Andrew Conway's tackle on a guy jumping up for a pass. You don't anticipate he's going to jump up for a pass, and Andrew was probably in the heightened state to get forward and shut down what looked like an overlap, and those things happen. I don't think there's any intent in things like that sometimes, but there's a lot of fast-moving moments in a game, so it's hard to get it dead right all the time.
Joe, just again on Jamie Houston, is there any early indication of the seriousness of his injury?
No, his I think it was his left leg was down in power. He couldn't fully I suppose propel himself off the ground on that side, and he had a bite. I think it was literally, we were just doing some shield hits toward the end of it, and he stepped out for a moment and spoke to the doc, and the doc came and spoke to me, and I said, look, get him inside and have a look, and you let me know. And I said, and let me know fast, please, because there wasn't a lot of time.
Will a scan be required on that, or is it something that you can't think that?
Look, again, I defer to the doc. I don't know at this stage.